Hello Tamers, Gino here. Today I'm excited to announce a new series, Fun Deck Fridays. These videos will showcase an off-meta or rogue deck for you guys to try out. Now these decks probably won't win you any major events, but you can definitely sneak some wins by an opponent who is unfamiliar with your deck's cards. Matchup knowledge is a real thing. So, without further ado, as you can tell by the sleeves, we're going to be taking a look at Pulsemon Tribal today. So to start with the eggs, we're running 4 of the BT17 BBmon. This egg, we'll talk about what it does exactly a little more, and how it really pushes your plays forward, but your turn once per turn, when an effect places a Tamer card in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, you gain a memory. So really valuable. This deck prints memory like crazy. Now let's take a look at the Digimon of the deck. We're running 4 copies of BT17 Pulsemon. This Pulsemon works very similar to the Lugamon from the Lugamon deck, where start of your main phase, you place a Leon Alexander from your hand as is Digimon's bottom Digivolution card. Then if you have 3 or more security cards, gain a memory. If you have 2 or fewer, recover 1. And you're going to see a lot of the cards in this deck are going to have effects, whether you have 3 or fewer or 3 or less security. This is one of the few cards that does not give you 2 effects when you have exactly 3. But it's a really strong card. If you have this on a BBmon in a Leon Alexander, then you're going to be getting a memory from BB and a memory from Pulse if you have 3 or more memory. Or, I'm sorry, if you have 3 or more security. And if you have 2 or fewer, you just get a free recovery, which is really good. All turns inherit plus 1,000 DP, as long as it has Pulsemon in its text, which, spoiler alert, the whole deck will have Pulsemon in its text. Okay. Next, we're running 4 copies of the Searcher Pulsemon. This is BT16, the green Pulsemon. Evos for 0 on a BBmon, just like this guy. So this is an excellent search card. On play, you dig top 4, and you add 1 card with Pulsemon in text, and 1 card with Abaddon Electronics in text. The rest goes to the bottom of the deck, and the all turns, again, is plus 1,000, while this Digimon is Pulsemon in text. So, the one thing this deck does not do well at all is draw cards. And this is an amazing searcher because you're almost always getting 2 cards. You're always going to hit something with Pulsemon in text because basically the whole deck has Pulsemon in text minus very, very few cards. And this isn't, it doesn't just grab Digimon with Pulsemon in text, it's card. So that comes up, which you'll see later. Honestly, ideally you want to open this Pulsemon up here, the BT17 one, with your Leon Alexander. But if you don't, you probably slam this one because it is one of the few rookies that can search out this rookie. It's always nice when you have a rookie that searches rookies. And then finally, this is a bit of your flex spot. If you wanted to run Pillowmons, you probably could. You probably should. But if not, we'll keep it tribal here. We're going to run the BT6 Pulsemon. On play, you may trash cards from the top of your security stack until there are 3 left. Gain 1 memory for each security card trashed, and while you have exactly 3 security cards, this Digimon gains jamming as the inherit. This is basically just a setup. It's really valuable to have exactly 3 security, and this Pulsemon gets you there no matter what if you're above. And for very cheap. So that's it for the rookie lineup. Let's move on to the champions. We are running 4 copies of BT17 Bulkmon. This is by far the best level 4 in the deck. Very strong card. On Digivolve, if you have 3 or more security, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3,000 DP per turn. If you have 3 or fewer security, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. So again, that exactly 3,000 is really strong because then this guy's swinging over most level 5s in the game. Because he's going to be buffed plus 1k and he's going to neg 3k after he suspends whatever it is. And then the all turns is also extremely powerful. When your security stack is trashed from, if Leon Alexander is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, recover 1. So this is basically a free check. If your opponent has nothing on the board, you can just swing with this with Leon underneath, because Leon gives barrier. So you die in security, you trigger barrier, and then you get a free recover. And you can also do other fun Bulkmon things. You have a Bulkmon on field with Leon Alexander. Blinding Ray is just a free 2 memory, for example. It's really cool. This Bulkmon's really powerful, and I like him a lot. He has the same inherit as our Pulsemons over here, which is plus 1,000 DP, while Pulsemon is in text. Next, we've got 3 copies of BT16 Runnermon. So a lot of these cards you're going to see are various colors, usually yellow and green, but sometimes not. But they all have black box. So black box is funny because it means that your opponent's purple hybrid doesn't stop you from evolving into these things. So this digivolves from a Pulsemon for 2. On play and when digivolving, so you can hard slam this if you want for the effect. If you have 3 or more security, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. If you have 3 or fewer, gain a memory. When you get up into your level 6, a lot of the times you're going to be swinging over your opponent's Digimon. This is a good way to suspend them down. Just hard slam the Runnermon, and then Kazuchimon gets an end of turn swing, which we'll talk about later. Again, all turns plus 1,000 if it has Pulsemon in text. And if you have 3 or fewer, this is a turbo card. This is 1 cost Evo, which is nice, or a 3 slam. And the final level 4 of the deck, we're running 3 copies of Namakemon. This card, at least on the sim, catches people off guard all the time. On play when digivolving, if you have 3 or more security cards until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your Digimon can't have its DP reduced by opponent's effects and isn't affected by digivolve. If you have 3 or fewer, one of your Digimon gains blocker and reboot to the end of your opponent's turn. So it's very funny to turn off Digivolve and DP neg. This makes Shadow Seraphimon not a problem ever again when you slam this or Evo into it. And we have some ways to play some of our champions by effects, which you'll see later. So you can get these effects off more than you think. And it's really nice to have blocker and reboot because your Leon Alexander is going to give you barrier. He also gives blocker, but he's going to give you barrier. So you're basically just tanking things and paying for it with your security, and then often recovering if you have like the Bulkmon, for example. All right, that's it for level 4s. Let's move on to the 5s. We're running 4 copies. This is the best level 5 in the deck of the BT17 Boutmon. Boutmon here, all turns once per turn. When this Digimon would leave the battle area by an opponent's effect, by trashing the top card of your security stack, prevent it from leaving. So just protected from everything except battle. And if you have Leon underneath, that means you're protected from battle because you have barrier. Really cool. But then the all turns, when an effect trashes a card from your security stack, if this Digimon has Leon Alexander and this Digivolution cards, you Digivolve into a card with Pulsemon in its text from your hand without paying the cost. So for free, you get to go into your level 6 once your security is trashed from. So your opponent tries to get rid of this by an effect, free level 6. If you're a blocker from Namakemon or Leon Alexander just has blocker, you block, you trash the card because you blocked, and then you go into your level 6 for free. Really cool card. Really valuable card. Really strong card. And then all of the level 5s here have the same inherited effect, and they are end of attack once per turn. If this Digimon has Pulsemon in its text, by trashing the top card of your security stack, unsuspend this Digimon. So what this means is you swing in with Leon Alexander, you hit something that kills you, you trash your security, you Evo into your level 6, and now your end of attack trigger is active. So you trash another security to unsuspend, and now you have an unsuspended level 6 on the board. Strong card. Next, we're running 2 copies, and these level 5s are really flexible. There's a lot of really good ones, but we're running 2 copies of Climbmon. Climbmon is on Digivolve. If you have 3 or more security cards, draw 2, trash 1. If you have 3 or fewer, you may play a card with Pulsemon in its text and 6,000 DP or less from your trash without paying the cost. At the next end of your opponent's turn, delete it. So there's some fun things you can do with this. You can play out one of your level 4s to get the effects, or you can play out one of your other level 5s, because we play 2 cheap level 5s that fit this threshold. One is Shootmon, so 1 copy of Shootmon. On play when digivolving, if you have 3 or more security cards, de-digivolve 1. If you have 3 or fewer, delete something with a play cost 6 or less. De-digivolve is really strong. This eats up ace cards like nobody's business. I really like a 1 of Shootmon. And like I said, you can play it off the Climbmon's effect. Alternatively, you could play Pulsemon. Pulsemon, if you have 3 or more security cards, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. If you have 3 or fewer, gain 2 memory. Oh, and the Digimon suspended doesn't unsuspend during the next unsuspend phase. So lock something down, and then gain your 2 memory. So you can play these cards, and there's a fun little trick you can do, because these guys are going to get deleted at the end of your opponent's turn. So I'll talk about that when we get to that card. We are running 4 copies of the man himself, BT17 Kazuchimon. Great card. When Digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. If Leon Alexander is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, all of your opponent's Digimon gave him second attack -1 till the end of their turn, so it's a blanket effect. Just shuts down things, buys you turns if you need it. And then end of your turn, this is the really interesting effect. Once per turn, if you have 3 or more security, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -6k for the turn, and if you have 3 or fewer, recovery +1. So either way, you're getting one of those effects, and then one of your Digimon may attack an opponent's Digimon. So this basically removes more or less anything on the board as long as it's not immune to DP neg, because you Evo into it, even if you pass turn, you suspend something down, you neg it 6k, and then you swing over. You have 3 or more. And you're at least 14 most of the time. You're either 14 or 13 with the chain. So, pretty strong. And if you did keep turn, you get basically 2 checks. People underestimate how much damage you can really push with Kazuchimon, because he does 2 checks every time if you choose to trash your security. And then the whole reason we're talking about this deck, I'm going to try to do this for the fun decks. I'm going to try to use the newer cards that are released so that we can show some of the cool decks that you can build. So we're running 2 copies of Shivamon Ace. This evolves from a level 5 with Pulsemon and text for 3. And so, Blast Digivolve, of course. On play when Digivolving, if you have 3 or more security cards, suspend one Digimon, and one of your Digimon gains plus 3000 DP till the end of your opponent's turn. If you have 3 or fewer, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck. So you can Pulsemon, suspend something down, and then go into the Shivamon Ace to get rid of it. If you don't have if you have 3 or fewer security, right? Or however you want to do it. And then all turns, this is the bug card. You'll see this in bugs a lot. But while it's suspended, it's immune to opponent's Digimon effects. So this is just a strong card, and it just happens to be an archetype because it has Pulsemon in text and evolves from Pulsemon in text. So this is our new card for the build, right? And finally, one more level 6, one more Digimon for the deck. We're running 1 copy of Shroudmon. So Shroudmon is a really interesting card. He evolves from 5 for 5 from a level 5 with Pulsemon in text. If you have 3 or more security cards, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -7k for the turn. If you have 3 or fewer, delete one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. Exactly 3, you're possibly removing 2 things. All turns, when this Digimon would leave the battle area by an opponent's effect, if you have 3 or more security cards, by trashing the top card of your security stack, prevent it from leaving, so you can protect yourself, leave it on the board. If you put Leon Alexander, this is a either 14 or 15k blocker if you build the whole stack. And then on deletion, this is the really interesting part. On deletion, recovery 1 until there are 3 cards in your security. So you can, the one little fun trick I was talking about earlier is you can go into Climbmon, play out one of your 5s, and then go into Shroudmon. And then at the end of opponent's turn, this is going to die because of Climbmon's effect, and then you get to recover to 3, which is pretty cool. Neat little thing. It's not going to come up often, but when it does, it feels pretty cool. Okay, that's it for Digimon. Let's move on to Tamers. You really need to see this guy, so we're running 6 total copies of Leon Alexander, or Hacker Judge, if you will. So 3 and 3. Hacker Judge is the BT16 one. He is a 4-cost memory setter. He mind links with anything with Pulsemon in text, so the whole board. While this Digimon has Pulsemon in text, it gains blocker and bury. And then end of all turns, it's a mind link card, so you can unmind link it. Really strong, because BBmon always gives you +1 memory. So if you have this, you're always going to 4, as long as you have a body on board to mind link with. Really good. So what's crazy is if you have this guy already on board, and you have another Leon in hand, when you push out your Pulsemon, you're going to gain 1 from the Hacker Judge you tucked, from Pulsemon's effect, and 1 from BBmon. So that's +2. So you're starting your turn at 5, probably. Potentially more. It's pretty crazy. And then this Leon, he is a 3-cost. Start of your main phase, if you have a Digimon with Pulsemon in its text, gain a memory. You should. Almost always, unless they removed your board. And again, blocker, barrier, inherit, and the mind link. He's a really good tamer, and you really need to see him. If he's not in your opening hand with a Pulsemon, you almost always mulligan. You really need to see him as soon as possible, because being able to barrier and just swing into security to set yourself to 3 is really, really valuable, really important for this deck. Great card. Next option cards, we're running 3 copies of Thunder Flame Crusher. This is a brutal option card, especially out of security. While you have a Digimon or Tamer with Pulsemon and text, you may ignore this card's color requirements. And when this card would be used, by trashing cards from the top of your security stack up to having 3 less, reduce the cost by 2 for each card trashed. So if you have 5 security, you can drop this for 2. What this does is deletes a level 5 Digimon, or lower. Then, if you have 2 or fewer security, you place this at the bottom of your security stack, which is funny. It doesn't come up too often because 6 is a lot to pay at that point when you're running out of security. But if it's already in security, it's great because the security effect is boom, neg 15,000. One of your opponent's Digimon gets 15,000 minus DP for the turn. So, really strong option card. I like it. It's fun. It's your removal tool if you can't do it with your Digimon. Next option card, we're running 3 copy of Hacker Pride. This is also a card I'd love to have in my opening hand because, again, this deck does not draw cards very well. You're only drawing cards on Digivolve. Hacker Pride does reveal top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Pulsemon in its text among them to the hand, and then place the rest at the bottom. Then place this card in the battle area. Then the delay effect. This is one of my favorite cards in the game just because of how unique it is. There's no other delay effect like this. By placing the top card of one of your level 4 or higher Digimon with Pulsemon in its text to the top of your security stack, gain 2 memory. So that's basically like, it's really cool. You basically de-Digivolve yourself, recover 1, and gain 2 memory. Really strong effect. And out of security, it also gets you the search and then places in battle area. I wish more of these cards did things when they were trashed from security. It's tempting to run Odin's Breath, for example, but it is what it is. I really love opening this Pulsemon and Hacker's Pride because I know I'll probably hit a Leon Alexander with it. But Hacker's Pride is basically the 3 cards you want in your opening hand are Hacker's Pride, a Leon, and this Pulsemon. But, you know, perfect world, whatever. Last option, we're running just 2 copies of Blinding Ray. Blinding Ray plus 2 memory, baby. Trash security, gain 2 memory. It just extends your plays. It just gets you where you want to be. If you don't want to swing with your Bulkmon and you have the Leon under, that's just a free 2 memory. It gets you to the number of security that you want to be at. And if you have no security, it's just 2 memory. Nothing wrong with that. It's great for the archetype. It's great for the deck. So yeah. I'm sorry, that's super, super duper shiny. And that's where my head is. There we go. All right, so that's the deck profile. Deck is really fun to play. It feels very toolboxy. Like I said, none of these decks are going to win you major tournaments, but you might be able to sneak a locals win with them. And it's really fun. I really recommend trying it out. Anyway, thanks for watching the first episode of Fun Deck Fridays, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.